Let's get back to what is going on in the markets. Look at this. Oil again hitting an all-time high. What's going on? Fears about the Middle East supply. Also, there's concerns of what's going on with that Iran deal. French President Emmanuel Macron. Look at this. He supports President Trump. He now says he wants a new deal.
You consider that the Iranian deal, the JCPOA, the one negotiated in 2015 with Iran, is a bad deal. For a number of months, I've been saying that this was not a sufficient deal, but that it enabled us, at least until 2025, to have some control over their nuclear activities. We therefore wish from now on to work on a new deal.
Joining me now, former Republican Florida Congressman, he is Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. A bombshell. France wants a new deal. Your reaction?
Well, I think it's good to be with you, Liz. I think that this is something that is just common sense. When you understand what is happening in the Middle East and the incredible hegemonic expansion of Iran, that basically we have been able to, finance that through the trade deals that have been done with them between France, Germany, and other European countries, but also the billions of dollars that we ship to Iran. So it was a false dilemma that was created by the Obama administration, said we had to do the deal or else we'll go to war, and it never really contained or did anything to prevent Iran from having a nuclear missile program and ballistic missile program. It just kind of delayed the eventual happening of that. And I think that these world leaders are starting to understand that they have to be tougher on Iran.
Now, Colonel, did the Obama administration mislead everybody? We've been reporting on the deal. Were people misled about that deal? Because now Democrats privately warn this deal is really bad. It expires after a decade, and it does not block Iran's missile development or try to stop it from destabilizing the region.
We know it was, and as a matter of fact, Deputy National Security Advisor Ben Rhodes admitted to, false information that he fed to the news media for them to go out and taunt this deal as being something that we know now that it was not. Look, Iran has never led up or stood up for all of the premises that this deal was part of. They have violated the ballistic missile testing. They violated purchasing and selling, weapons and armament, the S-300 system. And we see them now having military bases deployed there in Syria, and they're threatening our other great ally in the Middle East.
And the final point is, Obama kept saying we will have snapback sanctions, and watch this. Germany is now saying we don't want to snap back those sanctions, even if they come up with a nuclear weapon within a year. So that was always a false, fake thing about the snapback sanctions coming in, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It was a false premise on the snapback sanctions. As well, we do not have the ability to go in and do any of the inspections of some of these secret sites that were there. So we really don't have any enforcement position when it comes to the Iranian nuclear agreement.
Colonel, the president also announced it today that Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, will go to China. It will be the Treasury Secretary's first trip to China. He will negotiate trade disputes. Within days, we've got the decision about tariffs with China coming up. So what do you make of this, Steve Mnuchin heading to China?
Well, this is a very important position that we need to take, because really the essence of how we deal with North Korea is how we deal with China. We need to take a tougher economic stance with China, because that's the major patron state of North Korea. So I think it's very important that Mr. Mnuchin goes over and says, we want to have trade, but we want to have that fair trade. We don't want you to, pummel these new technologies or extort businesses coming into China.
Switching gears, another big meeting on the horizon. President Trump moments ago, basically ahead of his planned meeting with the North Korean leader. He's now being criticized for President Trump for what he said about Kim Jong-un. Listen.
Kim Jong-un he really has been very open and I think very honorable from everything we're seeing. Now, a lot of promises have been made by North Korea over the years, but they've never been in this position.
Okay, media pundits wrongfully criticizing the president for calling North Korean leader, quote, very honorable. He's talking about in the moment of the deal making, not the the horrific disgrace of the attacks that Kim Jong-un is perpetrating on his own people. The president is being falsely accused of saying Kim Jong-un's an honorable leader. It's not what he was saying, right?
Well, you have to be very careful with your language, and I will honestly say I would not use the word honorable in any way, shape, form associated
but he's talking
with North Korea,
about talking about the negotiations right now.
I understand, but you also have to understand how anyone will take something and spin it. This is a North Korea and a Kim Jong-un that's responsible for the death of an American citizen, Otto Warmbier. We still have 3 Americans being detained there.
Okay, understood. He's talking, though, again, I'm going to push back on you, Colonel. The president is talking about dealing, he's talking about the concessions North Korea is now making, saying it will make when it comes to its nuclear weapons. The president is talking within the scope of the deal over nuclear weapons, not the broader atrocities that the North Korean leader has committed, which are despicable.
And I absolutely understand the path that you're taking, but I think that you have to be very careful in the language that you use associated with it.
Yeah, we understand.
Absolutely.
All right, Colonel Alan West, good to see you, sir. Come back soon. We love having you on.
My pleasure.